Jacqueline, are you there? Is everything good? Jacqueline is just a technology. Okay, I see you, but I can't hear you.
Hi.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, I had one foot out the door. I was like, oh,
I
I'm
had
going
one
to get
foot
some.
out the door too. I was taking my laptop towards you, so we got
Oh,
it.
okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
I'm good. I am going to get some water.
okay. I'm gonna start the slideshow.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, my sister. How are you? You doing good? Good, good, good.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. How
Good
are you?
morning. How are you?
I am super, super, super. And
Oh,
congratulations
I
to you.
cannot believe we've seen each other.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It is. It really is. You've got a lot going on, so we either need a dinner date or a virtual date.
I like the dinner. I will get my way to come and see you. That is easy peasy.
Yeah, so proud of you. Hey, Professor.
Professor, how are you? I love the bow tie.
Appreciate you, good doctor. I appreciate you. I like you. How you doing?
Hey, look, I can
Hey,
give you the
madam.
address and you can put that in the
Hi.
mail and they'll never know it was yours.
Consider done.
I don't know what I was thinking about putting you all on the same
Oh,
platform.
this is good stuff right here.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know
just
it.
happy to
I
be
know
here.
it.
we got the same
I know it.
haircut, the same bow
Listen,
ties. I mean, we good to
we're just
go.
doing it. We're just doing it.
Well, maybe I should have wore a bow tie.
You can,
Got
girl.
some
We
for
got
And
you.
the
plenty of them
same
in the
haircut.
closet.
Oh my goodness. Well, 8:58, and I'm ready to get this party started. Good morning. Good morning. Dr. Gibson, good morning. We got a rainy day here.
I am in Portsmouth, Virginia, so I am looking out and it's not raining yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
Well, by the time it starts, I'll be back in Charlotte, so I'll run into it.
Oh man.
Well, be careful.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
We will get started in 1 minute. We have 18 attendees.
Nice.
Attendees, if you can hear, would you put your name and your school or what county, city, where you're from? We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, I think we're going to have our first chilly little fall day. Owen High School, Inca. Owen, Inca. Nesbit. Wonderful. MAHEC. Luke Nightingale, welcome. Thank you, Sadie. Keisha. Wonderful. McKenna Mompower, thank you for coming. Madeline. Well, it is 9 o'clock and we're going to go ahead and get started. I thank you all for coming to our 22nd Health Careers Education Awareness Conference. Fortunately and unfortunately, our second virtual conference, but the show must go on. We had planned for both in person and virtual, and as we had this resurgence, we decided that to keep everyone safe, but to also continue on, that we would go virtual, a very shortened version. And so we have two outstanding, wonderful speakers and presenters and many things, advocates for students in all ways. And I have worked with them for over a decade, some 2 decades before many of you were born. A few thank yous. I want to say thank you to Tracy Ashby Wagner, our program coordinator, who has done an outstanding job in moving us forward, and the Health Careers team, Center for Health Professions Education, and outstanding marketing team with all the wonderful information that you have received about our programs. And with that said, I would like to introduce our first presenter, which is Dr. Kinston J. Griffin. He's a best-selling author, and many of you probably have his books. If you've ever been to any of our programs, we always make sure that our participants receive a copy of his book. He'll probably talk more about that as well as his website. He's a top performing trainer and coach. Dr. Griffin continues to push the boundaries of conformity. His award-winning presentations are renowned and throughout the corporate education, federal, and nonprofit spaces. He received his bachelor's degree from Livingstone College and a master's degree in just 1 year from the University of South Carolina. Dr. Griffin, my friend, is the founder and CEO of Dream Builders Communications, Inc., which provides training and development in the areas of leadership, development, equity, diversity and inclusion training, academic enhancement, and executive coaching. And with that said, Dr. Griffin, you're on.
All right, all right, all right. Good morning, MAHEC, everybody. Man, I think it's about 27 of us out here, so I am super, super excited. And before I go any further, I have got to give it up to my friend, Miss Jacqueline Hallam. I mean, she has been doing this for years and years and years. And young people, I will tell you, she is a rock star. And when I say a rock star, she knows Lottie Dottie and everybody. So she is awesome. And I want to thank her. She almost was trying to wear a bow tie like Professor Roper and I. So we told her she couldn't put the bow tie on. Not this time, not this time. So we told her she couldn't put one on. We're going to make her an honorary bow tie wearer before it's over with. So young people, you can get in the chat. I know we are not face to face, but I have done so many of these. Watch this. I'm getting ready to spin around. That's how much fun we're about to have today. So you can know that this is going to be fun, fun, fun. Put in the chat right now. Just put it in the chat. Just say, "What's up, Dr. G?" Put that in the chat. "What's up, Dr. G?" I'm waiting for you to put it in there because I've seen Inika, Owen, Nesbitt, Mahek, Nottingham. I've seen a lot of you. So put it in the chat. Just say hello to me because we've got some great work to share with you today. I see a few people putting it in the chat. You can put it in the public chat. You're putting it in the private to me, but you can put it in the public chat. It's okay. We're not going to beat anybody up. We're going to have a good time. But also, Ms. Hallam did not say this. She most recently received a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I think that it goes without saying that we want to applaud her on today for all of the achievements that she has done to make sure young people in the health profession, regardless if you're from a rural area, a public school, a private school, regardless of your race, sexual orientation, regardless of where you are, she is doing the things today that others are not doing for young people tomorrow, so you can have the futures that you can have. So I want to really thank her for being a trailblazer, to advocating for you as young people, to let you know that you can do it. I see Sadie put in there, "What's up, Dr. G?" Come on, everybody. Go ahead and put it in there. Oh, I see it. I see it. I see Keisha put it in there. Joseph put it in there. You got to talk to me today. This is not going to be one of those, "Well, let me tell you about the best practices of making sure that you're doing well in school." No, we're going to have fun. We're going to be like out of control. It is going to be on a different level. So today, as we talk about a step towards tomorrow, young people, it goes without saying, whether you're in high school, because I see Owens, you're out there, and there may be a middle schooler in here. You may be in your first year of high school, or this may be the graduating class of 2022. Yes, I said it, 2022. You could be getting ready to graduate. And let's just be honest, if you're really looking at a step towards tomorrow, you may be thinking, man, what am I going to do? COVID is real. Where am I going to go? Am I going to go to UNC Asheville? Or am I going to go to UNC Charlotte? Am I going to go to Livingstone or A&T or Winston-Salem State? What am I going to do? Because life is different now. And then, hold on, this is something important. Don't leave me. I'm going to show you something. And then I got to put one of these on. What am I going to do? How am I going to pull this off? And it's like, and then I got to have money. I got to go to school. So the first thing I'll say is, young people, do me a favor. Everybody take a deep breath. I want you to relax. And let me tell you why. Sometimes we create stressors that are important and do exist, but we raise the bar of stress and we give stress more attention than stress deserves. Oh, that's a tweetable moment right there. We give stress more attention than what stress deserves. And when I say stress more attention than what stress deserves, there's only a few things that I tell people that I believe we control. You got to control, and you can't really control it, but you can control your attitude. Oh, that's very important right there. Attitude. You can control. There's a first takeaway. Yeah, you probably saying takeaways. He's giving takeaways. He's only talked 10 minutes. Yeah, you need to get all of this in these next 40 to 45 minutes because I want to make sure that you're just not excited and delighted, but you have some tools to walk away from. Professor and I, we've never worked together, but I promise you, he and I are going to be some of the similar things as it relates to you got to make sure you got to put some work in to get some outcomes out. But your attitude's got to be right. When you're going to class, I know, I'm going to lean in. I know there are some people that get on your nerves. Oh, yeah, they do. Some of them have your last name. Don't get in trouble because you know you got to go home. Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble. And then some of them may be teachers or in some cases, counselors or coaches. But I will tell you to give adults a little bit of grace. Many adults have already been where you're attempting to go. Now, they may not act like it. I mean, they may say, well, I've never partied before. Oh, yeah, they did. They partied. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have a party right now. Yeah, I'm going to have a party right now. They have partied. Don't let them fool you, young people. They've also made some mistakes. Don't let us fool you, young people. Not only have they made some mistakes, we've made mistakes by sometimes saying things to you like, don't do this and don't do that. And we put limitations upon you. And some of you all may say, well, I really want to go to a different city. Some of you may say, I really want to stay local. Some of you, I know you're out there. Emily, it may be you. You may be saying, man, I'm trying to go as far away from Asheville as I can. Now, I will say this. Now, be careful. The further you go away from home, sometimes it's harder to get a home-cooked meal. So be careful. Don't go too far away from home. Andrews High School, I see you out there. But as you're looking at all the things that you do, you can control your attitude. I want to share with you a little bit of a story about me. As a high school student, just a few years ago, just a few. Don't act like that. Don't act like that. I see you, Innika. Do not act like that. As a high school student a few years ago, I'll never forget I was a high school football player. And I had options to go to college and play football. But the one thing I did not know is I did not know what I wanted to major in. The one thing about MAHEC, when you start looking at the health and the sciences, it is a career now like never before, leaders. And yes, I called you a leader. Now, like never before, these are steps towards your tomorrow. When you start looking at tomorrow, the T really starts for or stands for how are you going to manage your time? Oh, this is about to be good. How are you going to manage your time? And when you start talking about managing your time, I want to make sure that you understand that I don't mind you being on Facebook. Just make sure you stay in your regular books. Oh, that's a tweetable moment. I don't mind you being on social media. As a matter of fact, media it out. But too much of anything is always, always a bad thing. Too much sleep is bad because guess what? You'll miss something. Too much eating is bad. I got to work on that. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working. Don't judge me. Do not judge me, Andrews High School. Do not judge me, Nesbitt. But here's the reality. You've got to pace yourself. So the T in tomorrow stands for time. Where are you going to put your time at? And when I say that, I would highly encourage you to create a schedule. Yes, you leaders, young people, create a schedule. You need to create schedule time for social time. Yeah, you need to have some time to hang out. And you're like, wait a minute, my parents say this. I am not going against your parents, but I think you need to have social time. But you also have to schedule time to do your, listen to this word, homework. That's why it's called homework. It didn't say classwork. It was called home and work. I have been studying over this presentation for the last 4 weeks. Yes, 4 weeks in process. We're only talking 45 minutes, but I want to give you the best of what I got for these 45 minutes. So when you start looking at the T stands for time, you've got to manage your time. The O stands for you got to be on it. And when we say own it, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you want to do? I want you to start dreaming like never before. The name of my company is Dream Builders Communication. I had a dream to start a company. Now we're in 24 states and 2 countries. I have 52 staff members. As a matter of fact, I'm in a place called Portsmouth, Virginia right now. Portsmouth. Now I live in Charlotte, but I'm in Portsmouth, Virginia. But when my friend told me, she said, I need you to do this presentation. I stopped everything in Portsmouth and I said, I'll be there. If she would have told me to be in Asheville, I don't know how I'd have got there. Boat, plane, train, or plane. I'd have got there. I'd have been in Asheville, North Carolina. We'd have been at the UNC Asheville. We'd have been in the auditorium. You'd have had a great lunch. I'd have been down on the floor. You'd have thought I was 5'12". Notice I said 5'12". Make a joke, make a joke. But I'm only 5'7". Because if you're 5'12", you're really 6 foot. But the whole goal is you've got to be on it. And when I say on it, you've got to have your goals and your dreams. You have to be careful who you, and here's the M, you've got to be careful who you measure yourself against. Sometimes you create a different level of stress because you say, I want to be just like this person. Well, will you make the sacrifices that that person made, Andrews High School? Nursing fundamentals class, would you make the sacrifice that that person has made? Rachel, will you put yourself in a position to slow down to speed up? Oh, that's another tweetable moment. Sometimes you've got to slow down, take a step back, way back, and then you've got to come back in and you've got to center yourself. And when you center yourself, you put yourself in a position to own it. That is the second O. You got to own it. Now, the first one was own, O-N. This one is O-W-N. And when we say own it, you got to own it and take responsibility. I've never seen people of this day and time like never before that we don't want to take accountability and responsibility. Accountability and responsibility. What this really means is if you say you're going to do something, be real about it. Oh, yeah, you got to be real about it. That's the other R. You got to be real about it. When we start talking about being real about it, you got to keep your, and this is a big word, your integrity. Integrity is nothing more than doing what you said you're going to do and doing it. Doing what you said you're going to do and doing it. Now, here's the key, especially when no one's watching. Oh, that's good. Especially when no one's watching. You have to put yourself in a position to do the things today that others won't do so you can have the quality of life tomorrow that others won't have. It's easy when your high school teacher is doing this. Well, how are you doing on your test? They're standing over your shoulder. Well, you may want to look at, or they're saying, did you do this the right way? Or here's one at home, young people, clean up your room. You're like, oh. All those things are going on. But sometimes, regardless if you're in the 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade, and I'm going to talk to each grade level, you still got to be real about it. Be real enough to know that, let's just be honest, some of you need to still put your clothes out at night because you don't like waking up early in the morning. You do. It's okay. It's okay. I'm with you. Others, You know you do not, absolutely not like taking out the trash. You know you don't like taking out the trash. As a matter of fact, some of you, I'm gonna close my eyes. Some of you despise cleaning up your room. You just can't stand it. You like, man, why I gotta make up my bed? I'm jumping right back in it tonight. That's what you're thinking right now. But as you prepare 12th graders graduating class 2022, as you prepare to go to college, whether it is a community college, because community colleges are good. I want to make sure you understand community colleges are good. It amazes me that people say, well, I'm just not sure if I go to community college. You want to advance your degree, and sometimes you have to take steps. Community college and then a 4-year institution. Now, obviously, I'm going to say, if you get a 4-year institution degree, go ahead and get it. But some of you all can get your CNA. Some of you can do the early college programs. Hello, hello, hello. But you've got to put yourself in a position to be real about your situation. Some of you, let's be honest, you're financially in a position with your parents being very fortunate that you'll be able to go to a college. Me, I had to have a football scholarship for my family to afford me going to college. But I never let what was considered a setback set me up for failure. Oh, that was good. I never let a setback, because you can't have excuse and success in the same sentence. Because, oh well, we don't have this, and you know, I stay with my cousin, or well, we have everything we need, and I'm not quite sure what that is. Please don't get what I call spoiled privilege and not realize that there's a bigger world out there. There's a big world out there. And some of you got it and some of you may not. But here's what I want you to understand. Everybody's got that mind. And if you have the right mindset, you can be real about your situation. Be real about where you're going to go. Be real about what you want to do. Be real that you and math don't get along. Be real that you and science are going to have to spend a little bit time together. You and science going to have to hang out. You guys going to have to be like, yeah, you my boo. You and science are going to have to be boos, because if you don't get your science, you're going to be like, boo-hoo. You got to get your grades. Yes, I am promoting academia. Yes, yes, yes. I want you to have fun, but you got to be real about where your gaps are. And sometimes your gaps are not because you don't understand the subject at hand. Your gaps are you're not disciplined enough to put the work in to get the outcome. Young people, don't wait till the last minute. Some of us are professional PPs, and people are like, is that a bad word? No, a PP is a professional procrastinator. You have to make sure that for some of you, I know, I shouldn't even say this. Some of you can wait closer to the last minute and still do okay. Some of you have that gift. You're just academically astute enough to make sure that it occurs in the right matter. But others, you just like I am. Man, you're going to have to, the test is Friday. You're going to have to study Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning on Old Yellow. You're probably like, what is Old Yellow? And that's the school bus. Or if you get dropped off, you may have to take your iPod and your iPad out and put something in, because you've got to be real about your situation. If you become real about your situation, you have the other R. You can raise to the top. Oh, that's a good one right there. You can raise to the top. And if you're really going to raise to the top, what does raising to the top look like? So let me tell you my situation. As a college football player, I was shorter than most of the other football players. But what I knew is that I had to put myself in a position that I had to study a little bit. So as I studied, I would learn different ways and different behaviors that the offensive player was doing. So I played defense. So when a person would try to run and catch the ball, I kind of knew where they were going before they were going to get there. You probably say, what does this have to do with MAHEC? What does this have to do with health and sciences? Listen, start looking at the data and the analytics. This profession that we are in is not going anywhere, young people. We need more nurses. We need more nurses assistants. We need more doctors. We need more anesthesiologists. We need more cardiologists. We need more x-ray technicians. We need more technical staff now than never before. COVID, unfortunately, caused an awareness that many healthcare and hospitals, I don't think, really understood how important you really were and how important you really are. So as you begin to identify how important you are, how important you really were, now you got to start looking at, well, where can I put myself at, Sadie? Where can I put myself, Skylar and Lauren? And where can I put myself at, Patricia, that I can really make sure I can get a good job? I can really make sure that I can put myself in a position, whether I'm in Greensboro, AHEC, whether I am in Asheville or Charlotte, where can I put myself at? Tracy, where can I put myself at that I know that I can be globally competitive and I can compete and be compensated for my time, talent, and treasure? Oh, that's good. Be compensated for my time, Meredith, my talent, and treasure. How can I be compensated? Because you've got to put yourself in a position to understand that what Ms. Hallam is doing is, even though the pandemic came, she did not let the pandemic cause a pause. Oh, give me a high five through the Zoom. Go ahead, the high fives up in the Zoom. Go ahead and put the hands up. Go ahead and put the hands up. I need some hands up. She did not let the pandemic have a pause. And what happens is, if we let a pause us, oh yeah, put the claps up, the thumbs up. I mean, you can roll them up if you want to. You can even put the party favors up. But if you have a pause, then you can start understanding. If you pause too long, you're going to get stuck in pain. Oh, teach, Kinston Griffin, teach. You cannot get caught in the pause because you'll get stuck on the pain. Watch what the pain sounds like. Well, I'm just not really good at math. Well, I failed the biology test. This is what people say. I think I'm going to switch majors. Here's what I want to encourage you not to do. Don't abort the mission before it's time for you to shoot the shot. Oh, that was good. So many times when it gets tough, here's what we do. We want to change when it gets tough. I would tell you, instead of spinning that way, spin back this way and say, wait a minute. If it's not now, then when? If not you, then who? And if not this profession, then what? You and I can no longer stop quitting when it gets tough. Let me tell you, life is going to be tough, but you can't quit when it gets tough. You've got to push. You got to persevere. You got to work on it. The thing I love about tomorrow, it has 3 O's, or the letter O. And when you start talking about the third O, the first one was you got to be O-N on it. The next one, you've got to O-W-N. You've got to own it. But then the next O is a little different. You are in the circle. It's you. And you probably say, well, that starts with a Y. Yeah, I understand that. But you now become in the circle. And when you become in the circle, go ahead and put you, because I know some of you taking notes. When you become in the circle, you can look out. And the good thing about the circle is it has the 360 degrees. So at 12 o'clock, you may have to break and eat lunch. At 1 o'clock, you may have class. At 2 o'clock, you may have class. At 3 o'clock, you may get dismissed from school. At 4 o'clock, you may have to go to work from 4 to 8. And then you get home at 8:30. You're still inside the O, young people, the circle. And then at 8:30, you may have to do something called time management. I know you hadn't been on your email. I know you hadn't been on your social media. I know you hadn't been able to text and tweet and Instagram and slam and eat some ham. I know you hadn't been able to do any of that stuff. But now you've got to, yes, you've got to position yourself to maximize on what's taking place. Meredith and Skylar, you've got to put yourself in a position where, I know we hate cleaning up the room, but we've got to do a better job of cleaning up this room. And this room is the mindset. And when we start talking about mindset, it's the mindset for you to be successful. See, the purpose of our time today is real simple, and I'll read it. It's to learn and share best practices to strengthen leadership. I'm talking about leadership, social and cultural awareness, and emotional intelligence. When you start talking about emotional intelligence, I need you to become more self-aware. Yes, self-aware. And we start talking about self-aware, I want you to have good confidence about yourself. I want you to understand that you are more than enough of what you need. I want you to understand that not only self-awareness, but you've got to have self-management, high self-esteem. Let me share something with you, young people. Stop letting everybody speak into your life. Oh, that's a good tweetable moment. Stop letting everybody speak into your life. So you got social awareness, you've got self-management. And the key to social awareness and self-management, you got to be socially aware enough. Just because it worked for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You got to figure out what works for you, self-managers. You got to stop letting everyone speak into your life. Here's another one, relationship management. I know, oh, I'm about to go there. Some of you have a partner, a boyfriend, or a girlfriend, and you just love them, love them, love them, love them, love them. But they may not be going where you want to go. When you want to study, they want to hang out. When you want to read, they want to rap. When you want to sit in a rocking chair, they want to listen to rock music. When you want to work on your MBA, they want to look at the NBA. But if you focus on the NBA too long, young men and young ladies, and don't focus on your math and sciences, you will have the acronym NBA, no bank account. You've got to focus on it. I mean, think about it. If you're a senior, you got 4 years of this deal, maybe 6. You only got 4 to 6 more years. And I know tomorrow seems so, but yesterday was just a flither away. But as you begin to think about it, seniors, you only got 4 to 6, maybe 8 years, and that's it. You'll have to get more certifications, but there's no more school. Now, I know some of you are like, man, I've been in school 12 years, Dr. G. I'm taking a break. I hear you. But don't let the break you up. You got to get back in the game. I would encourage you just to keep going through, because you've got to have relationship management, and relationship management puts you in a position where you maximize on what you got to get. You maximize on what you got to get. You do what you got to do to get what you got to get. And when you begin to do these things, this is where you get the other W. You got to work, because we're talking about tomorrow. You got to put some work in. And when we start talking about putting the work in, you got to put the work in so you'll be successful. Seniors, you've got to start looking at things now more than ever. You've got to start saying, have I taken the ACT or the SAT? Have I started looking at the colleges or universities that would consider me, regardless of your race, a minority scholar? Many young people I know, if you're a Caucasian, you can go to Winston-Salem State and you're considered a minority. The goal to go to college is for free. If you're an African American or Asian Pacific Islander or a Latino brother or sister, my Latinx community, regardless of what your race is, start looking at the programs that you would be considered a minority. Start making sure June that you really have a strong, yes, I say go the SAT or the ACT. The ACT is huge right now. Start looking at putting yourself in a position where you ask questions right now. I know you're just a sophomore. I don't really know what to ask. Just ask people to tell you, what was your journey like? What classes you take? What every more you should talk. I call it S&S. Every sophomore you should talk to a senior. Now let me read to a senior that's got good things. Don't talk to any senior. But you got to talk to a senior and say, hey, here's the question check. If you could have done anything different, what would it be? Oh, that's a good one. So you can learn from Professor and I, and you can learn from Ms. Hallam and I, but I would encourage you to learn from your peers. Hey, if the seniors do something you can do different, what would it be? And then freshmen, I would highly encourage you. There's 31 of us on the line. You want to find a mentor that's seasoned but not toxic. And you can have two sets of mentors. You can have a professor or a teacher mentor, and you can have a student mentor. Now, why is this critically important? If you can get another student to mentor you that's going in the right direction, you'll have some things that you'll probably never think that you could have. So when you begin to start thinking about everything that's occurred, I want to give you a few more tools as we talked about tomorrow, but I want to give you a few more tools that I'm quite sure, and then I'm going to open up for question and answer. I'm quite sure that these things will work for you. Number one, what is your definition of leadership? You need to define leadership. I think that's important. Here's a big one. Number two, in this world of social and civil unrest, how can you be more inclusive? Oh, that's a good one. How can you, yes, you, students, faculty and staff, teachers, how can we be more inclusive? How can we create more access for young ladies? How can we create more access for males? How can we create more access for students that truly desire to go into this profession of the health and sciences? Mental health is real now like never before. How can we create more access? How can we be more inclusive? So when you start talking about what is your definition of leadership, how can we be more inclusive? How can we have more access? These are questions that I want to pose upon you. How can you make a society better? Yes, you. If I said, I'm just a sophomore, what can I do? You stand up for what's right. You do the things today that others won't do. But the definition of leadership, how can you be more inclusive? How can you create more access? You always don't get into the programs because you have the highest GPA. Sometimes you get into the programs because you know a Jacqueline Hallam. Sometimes you get into programs because you know Professor Roper. Sometimes you get into programs because you reference certain things. The last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to open up for question and answer. This is going to be good. How are you putting yourself in a position to make sure that you volunteer and get engaged in things just outside of school? Class is great, school is great, but are you going and volunteering at your local hospital? And some of you say, well, with COVID, I hadn't been able to do that. I understand you may not be able to go there and volunteer, but are you chatting with the director? Are you emailing her or him? Are you talking to your high school teachers and saying, where did you go to college at? Are you getting a diverse perspective on opinions? I would encourage you right now, you will continue to have to diversify your mental portfolio. All that is your mindset. You're going to have to diversify that. So I have done what I call a hot 35 minutes. And now I want to know if there are any questions that you may have. Put them in the chat. I know we're on a WebEx platform, so you can put them in the chat. I'm looking at names. I'm seeing Charlie and Brian. Let's see. I'm seeing Bailey and Amy and Christine and Emily. Kaylin, very nice. Questions in the chat. Lauren, Lindsay, my niece's name is Lindsay. Luke, what's up, dude? Meredith, McKenna, Patricia, Peyton, Neely. Seeing a lot of names in the chat. Shoot your questions out. Okay, so I think I have my first question. So many young people. Oh, I got several questions. Let me jump back on these real quick, but I'm going to answer as many as I can. So many young people feel pressure to have their career chosen in a high school and in early college. What advice would you give to students who don't have it figured out? I got some good news for you. I didn't have it figured out until I was a sophomore in college. Let me share something with you. In many, and thank you for that question, Rachel. In many colleges and universities, you are going through what we call the general courses your first and second year. So I would encourage you not to feel like you always have to have it figured out, because some of those general courses are the ones that you just have to get through the next level. There's a test the military gives called the ASFAB, and it's basically an assessment that distinguishes what you may be good at. I'm not telling you to join the military, nor am I disrespect the military, but you may want to go online and find some kind of an assessment to figure out where some of your strengths may be. And I know that we're talking about healthcare today, but some of you all may be in different places as it relates to what you want to be. Everybody does not want to be a doctor. Let me be real clear about that. Everybody does not want to be a nurse. There are so many other positions in the healthcare space you can get in. What advice, let's see, here's another question. What advice would you give to students who don't have it figured out? Answer that. How do you manage balance? Wow. Extracurricular activities in school. Man, let me tell you, how do I balance it? I am still trying to work on figuring out how to balance stuff. What I do is I create a schedule. And when I create a schedule, I put myself in a position, I pretty much stick to that schedule. And when I stick to that schedule, if something gets a little bit off, I don't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I just balance it out and recenter myself. So when I say balance it, I put in my time that's scheduled for homework, because me preparing for a presentation is homework. I put in my time for homework. I put in my time for pleasure. Not only I put in my time for pleasure, I put in my time to make sure it's just some me time. And when I say me time, I just go for a walk. This morning, I went for a walk, run, wanted to make sure I was okay. But the last thing I'll say is what I've done is I've had to put the time in. Listen to me. I had to put the time in on where I had deficits at. See, the problem is, Sadie, most people don't want to work where they're minoring in. Most people want to work what they major in. Oh, that's a tweetable moment. Most people want to work what they major in other words, what they're good at. When people only work at what they're good at, then it exposes sometimes when you got to work at something that we're not so good at. Great question. Next question. Bring them, bring them, bring them. Fellas, I hadn't had a question from a guy yet. Come on, talk to me. At least I don't think I have. Guys, talk to me. Give me a question, a question. Also, Ms. Hallam has put in an opportunity where there's a free assessment at www.cf as in Frank, nc.org. Never, ever, ever, ever pay for assessments. I totally agree. Here's another question. How do you choose between careers that we love, but we can't make a living on the wages? Yeah. Here's what I tell people. When you work in what you love, it won't feel like a job. And I know it sounds kind of corny and cliche-ish, but my background is psychology and social work. And I'll be honest with you. People told me education, psychology, social work, they don't make any money. It is all about the perspective in how you do it. The traditionalists, if you're only going to be average and not specialized, you will get paid average wages. I am a specialist when it comes to communication, process improvement, and organizational delivery. But my background is social work and psychology. I am not the traditional social worker or the traditional psychologist that sits down and says, well, tell me how you feel. That's not the psychology I do. I do it in a different manner. I do trainings and development, and I drive teams and organizations so they can go from average to awesome. So I would say that don't get caught in the tradition of what a position looks like. You create the position and make a path like never before. I'm doing some things in psychology and social work that they didn't teach in school. Okay. But I'm doing it in a different manner because that's what I really wanted. Great question. Well, I know that I am out of my time. My father is a Baptist minister, and one of his best sermons are "Blessed are the brief, for they shall be asked back." So I want to make sure I get asked back to come back. But I really want you to put yourself in a position, as much as attention and time and energy you gave me today, Please give it to the rest of the presenters. Please give it to the rest of the speakers. But most of all, give it to yourself. Never in a time like never before that I've seen that we have more access to professional development and we won't get developed. I need you and I to get developed. And when we start talking about getting developed, the only way you can get developed is sometimes you've got to go in a dark room so you can come out light and bright. Oh, that's a tweetable moment. And what do I mean by the dark room? That means you've got to have eyes closed, ears open, and sit down. And some may meditate and some may not. But to think about, what am I going to do? What noise do I need to block out? This is about to be good. What individuals do I need to block out? How can I make sure that I'm being good to me? Ooh. How am I going to slow down just a little bit and not let my anxiety overtake me? And then when you open your eyes, you're surprised, but not surprised that you're looking at greatness, baby. Not only you're looking at greatness, you're looking at somebody that's a champion. You're looking at somebody that's a winner. Not because the motivational words to make you a winner, but you put the work in. And when you put the work in, you've got to put yourself in a position to understand tomorrow is now. So put the time in where you need to be. Own it. And when I say be on it, be on it. If somebody said the presentation starts at 9, you log in at 8:45. You're probably saying, why that early? Well, in case you have technical difficulties, you got 15 extra minutes. You may log in and watch this. You may log in and do this. Leave. And then you may come back. But you're back. Now hear me. If you log in, make sure if you get up that you got something on the bottom as well as something on the top. Because I know people have gotten up on these Zooms and they look good up top. And it's like, oh my God, they didn't have on any beep. Now you figure out the beep. That's not me. You figure out the beep. But you got to measure things, young people. You got to measure your company you keep. I believe everybody's the right person, but some of you all are around some cheap company. Yes, I called it out. Everybody's the right person, but some of you are around some cheap company. And cheap company doesn't want you to win because misery loves company. And then you've got to own it. You've got to take the bull by the horn and say, today is my day. And then you got to be real about it. You may not be able to get a big bull. You may have to get a little bull. Don't grab more than you can chew and don't bite more than you can eat. But you got to be real about it. And then raise the bar. Some of you may be first generation college students. Some of you may be the fourth generation nurse, fourth generation doctor, fourth generation epidemiologist, whatever you're going to be. But make sure that you live your life for you. Because some of us, I know for me, my dad was a business owner and I like business, but that just wasn't me. I didn't want to get an MBA. I did like the MBA of a mega bank account though. MBA, get it? Mega bank account. I like that. Just didn't have it, but I liked it. But you, remember the O, the circle. How are you going to put yourself in a position? And when you put yourself in that position, you do the things that's important. And yes, if I need to get you any more books, Ms. Hallam, they are gone for this group. I don't need any money for these books. I want to sow into these young people's lives. And then last thing is you got to work. So, Ms. Hallam, I will turn it over to you. You guys and ladies have totally rocked. When Professor comes on, I want you to be ready for Professor because his knowledge is going to be great. The time is going to be good. And I see Kim said, I would like to have a book. Guess what? Done. Not D-O-N-E, Kim, is D-U-N. Done, 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 done. So, Ms. Hallam, thank you so much. Last but not least, folks, she's a rock star. I'm telling you, I absolutely love this woman. And if she calls me in the morning, she calls me at night, my staff in my office knows that whenever she calls the office, you move it around. We don't ask her for her budget. She tells us what she pays us. And everybody does not get that opportunity. If she says she got $1, guess what? We coming for $1. So Miss Hallam, mwah, I love you to pieces, girl.
One of my favorite quotes from Dr. Griffin is teamwork makes the
Dream work.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Teamwork makes the dream work. I've been saying that for over a decade. And you never know when you're going to meet someone or where you're going to meet someone. So you're always looking and being open. And I sort of had to chase him down. I met him somewhere. I was at another conference, saw him presenting, and I thought, wow, this is interesting because I have been at MAHEC for 26 years this weekend. And so I was always looking for resources for my student. Uh, Dr. Roper and I had the same job. He was my colleague in the AHEC system. And so it never hurts to have long-term relationships. So you can have professional relationships. There are so many types of relationships. I have heard Dr. Griffin talk about that. And so whatever relationship works for you, long as it's a safe relationship, long as it's a relationship your parents know that you have a relationship with. Because let me tell you, these are very, very trying times. And so we need to be safe, we need to be smart, we need to be conscientious about what it is we're going to do. We need to be intentional. And that's an important word. We need to be intentional about the things that we want to do and plan to do and find someone to talk to and make that happen. People like Dr. Griffin. I put his link of his organization in the chat. Dr. Roper will put his email and organization in the chat. And so these are ongoing relationships that you can have. When the conference is over, the relationships don't have to be over. With Tracy, you have her contact information, and know that this event is being recorded, and so you will be able to see it. Let your peers know, even though they weren't here. We know we're doing it during the school time hours, and everyone can't be here, but everyone can participate. It doesn't have to be right now. And without further ado, are there other questions? Thank you, Dr. Griffin. Such a pleasure to have you here this morning. Very inspiring, yes, indeed. And then another great time with Dr. G. Thank you, Dr. Roper. And so we're going to move forward. In between, we will also give you information about upcoming programs that we are providing for students. And many of these are virtual. So regardless of if you are in North Carolina or in Buncombe County, virtuality is what I call it. You can participate from all over the country and out of the country as long as you have a computer and the internet. So know that you are not limited to your classroom. The world is your classroom right now. There's pluses and minuses to the pandemic. And we know what the minuses are, but the pluses are that the whole world has opened up to you. And so, Dr. Roper, if you're ready, I'm going to introduce you. Dr. Bernard Roper is the program director for the master's program at the Wake Forest University Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. He's also a member of the Association of Medical Minority Educators, the Alliance for Health Professions Diversity, and currently serves on the North Carolina Health Professions Diversity Conference Planning Committee. Prior to joining the graduate school, he was the director of Office of Student Affairs and the Office of Student Inclusion and Diversity. Bernard has also served as the Health Careers Coordinator at the Northwest Area Health Education Center, where he created and implemented health careers programs and interventions for underrepresented and economically disadvantaged students in Northwestern North Carolina. He received his Bachelor of Arts in History from Winston-Salem State University, his master's degree in history from Winston-Salem State University, and his master's degree in school administration from Gardner-Webb University, and his PhD in leadership studies from the North Carolina A&T State University, greatest organization and university in the land, Aggie Pride. For you, Professor, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. First of all, Miss Hallam, I love you. I call you madam. You are I so appreciate you. You know how you have sewed into my life. I have this picture we talk about it all the time of her holding my daughter. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to have good people in your life. I'm going to echo what Dr. Griffin says. I'm going to echo what Ms. Hallam says. You know, relationships are incredibly important. And if you have good relationships, you've been able to enhance your network with good people. Hold on to those people tightly. And when you find them, you got to wrap them in bubble wrap. So, Ms. Hallam, thank you so much for letting me come back. I always enjoy coming to, the Health Careers Education and Awareness Conference. You always have good party people with us. So I really appreciate it. It is always hard to follow Dr. G. That is my good fraternity brother, my good big brother. It is always hard to follow him. But I really appreciate, I hope that I will echo some of the things that he talked about. But I am so glad to see you all. I wish we were in person. I'm a school teacher, ladies and gentlemen, and I prefer to be in school. I prefer to be in the schoolhouse so I can see you and touch you and throw candy at you and talk to you. But I so appreciate you. You could be doing a million other things. You're supposed to be in class, but we'll talk about that later. But I'm so glad to have you here. As Ms. Hallam says, my name is Bernard Roper. I'm the Director for Experiential Learning and Internships here at the Wake Forest Graduate Programs in Biomedical Sciences. And you heard my bio a little bit, and we'll talk about why I'm here and why I do what I do here shortly. But I really want to thank you for allowing me to spend this time. So before you go back home, before you get to go back to school, when your parents ask you, what'd you do today at this conference? What'd you learn? I want to leave a couple of things with you. So if I can get my computer to work. When you walk back home, when you walk in the door and your parents ask you, I want you to be able to articulate, that you're going to be able to describe a number of diverse health careers. And we're going to talk about 4 of them. We're going to talk about 4 specific health careers that are specific to your county where you live. And if you don't live there, you live close. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about, how you understand the local health career workforce. What's going on? We all aspire to a couple of different things. And I think that most of you are here because you have an interest in health careers. And so I want to talk to you about health careers as it relates to your home county. Research tells us, literature tells us that most folks return home, to provide care and to work. And so I want to talk to you about your home. And then I want to give you a couple of resources to help you sort of further explore some of those health careers. Okay. So you heard Ms. Hallam talk about who I am, but let me tell you where I'm from. Okay. Now I am the oldest son of Ned and Cynthia Roper. And when I say that, my dad was an Army officer. And so every 3 years we're bouncing around. Okay. Whether it would be Norfolk, Virginia, or Stuttgart, Germany, or Heidelberg, Germany, or Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is where I went to high school. So I went to high school and graduated in 1992, hence all this gray going on right here. So I got a little season to me like Bojangles chicken, okay? But I went to high school in Fayetteville, North Carolina at E. Smith Senior High School. Then I matriculated to what I think is the best state university in all the land. I will never take anything away from Livingstone or North Carolina A&T State University, especially because I sent them tuition dollars. But I think Winston-Salem State is the greatest institution of higher learning ever. So I'm a graduate. I'm a 1996 graduate of Winston-Salem State University. Then I got my master's degree from Gardner-Webb University here in Boiling Springs because once upon a time I taught 6th grade math and science. Okay. And I became an assistant principal at a public charter school. It had been my lifelong dream to be a school teacher. I thought I was going to teach for 30, 40 years and love nothing more than to do that. And so I got my master's degree in school administration, became a school administrator and worked for a charter school where I was the board chairman. And when I came to the Wake Forest School of Medicine, I began working on my PhD and got my PhD at North Carolina A&T State University, as Ms. Hallam said, all with the design of becoming an educator. I told you I was a school teacher. I'll tell you a little bit more about what I do here at the graduate school, but my lifelong dream was to be an educator. We all have these dreams, and I want to sort of talk to you about it because you all, I believe, aspire to become health professionals. So I've talked a little bit about who I am. Now I'm going to see if I can get in the chat here because I want to know who I'm talking to. I know we have about 22 people. Madam Hallam, would you do something for me? I don't think I can see the chat. Would you tell me who my babies are posting and who they are and where they're from? If you will just post in your chat your name and the name of your high school, and if you can, your county. But if not, just tell me who you are. I want to know who I'm talking to. I feel like I've shared all my personal business, so now I want yours.
I
So
am,
who we got?
I am monitoring the chat.
Oh, there we go.
And I know we have Inca High School
Yep.
online. Let me see if I can go to the top.
Oh, there you go. Inca. I got a lot of Inca. Yeah. Mattingly, Owen High School in Buncombe County. Okay. Candler. All right. Morgan. Hey, Morgan. Caitlin. All right. Who else we got?
Owen High School, Luke,
Okay.
Nesbitt
All right.
Academy, Sadie,
Oh, another Owen.
Nesbitt
Okay.
Discovery Academy, that's in Buncombe County.
Okay.
I see many Inca High School students.
Inca's in the house. I
Inca's
need to
in
come
the
to
house.
Inca.
Miss Sadie Moore got her people ready.
There you go. Owen, I got another Owen. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing who you are and where you go. And there you go. Go Jets. All right. Now, do I have any seniors? By a round of applause. Do I have any seniors? Me? I love it. Okay. I got a couple of seniors. You're right there. Dr. G talked about it. You're on the precipice. You're getting ready to launch out of here. There you go. Okay. So yay to my seniors. Any juniors? Okay, I got me. I love it. Okay, we got a couple of juniors. All right. One and a possible junior. Maybe somebody's not sure. Okay. What about any sophomores? No sophomores? Any freshmen? Y'all left all the freshmen at home? Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to talk to my juniors and my seniors. You all are right there. Okay. So I've told you who I am. I found
And
sort
we're
of figured.
recording, Dr. Roper, so those who can't be here will be able to hear what you say.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Now, I just want to ask a question. I want to ask, why you're here. Now, I told you why I'm here. I told you what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why are you here? Now, my assumption is, and you can give me the thumbs up, you can clap for me, you can break dance all you want, but my assumption is that you're here because one, you have a desire to go to college. Okay, whether that is, as Dr. G said, community college or four-year college, love it. Okay, my assumption is you have an interest in a health career. Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, a big assumption I'm making, and I'm pretty certain about this, is that you have a couple of folks in your life that want to see you pursue your dreams. Dr. G talked about it. I know Ms. Hallam has talked about you have good people in your life. These are folks that are supporting you. Okay. We have those friends. And we talked about some, you may want to work on this, but they may want you to work on that. I'm not talking about those friends. These are the folks that support your dreams. Okay. These are the folks that are in your life and want to see you do well. Okay. And because you're participating in interventions like this and programs like this, you may have some of the resources needed to make it to the next level. And we're going to talk about what the next level is, whether that is community college, whether that is a four-year college. We're going to talk about whether, that is the world of work. Whatever that is, that means you have some resources and some network. You've enhanced your network between mom and dad, grandma, aunties, uncles, Miss Hallam, your guidance counselor. You have a network that's going to support and love on you, okay? That is going to help you pursue your dream. So I'm going to make the assumption that this is why you're here listening to us, spend this time with you and sort of pour into you a little bit. Can I get a thumbs up if I am quasi on the right track about why you're here? Just give me a couple thumbs up to let me know. You got to talk to me, please. There we go. Okay. So if I'm wrong, you let me know. If I'm wrong, if I missed a couple of things, you let me know. Now, I told you I was a school teacher, so I'm gonna put up something, and I wanna make sure you understand what this is. Does anybody recognize what this is? Okay. Y'all are old, you're getting ready to go to college, you're getting ready to do some things. Can anybody pinpoint where you might live, where you might land here? Okay. Now, I am in Forsyth County. Okay. I'm in Winston-Salem. But can you identify your county? Okay. I want to talk to you about your county or counties close to you. I want to talk about the healthcare workforce in your neck of the woods. Okay. And I'll ask you a question. I'll talk to you about why this is important to you. I believe in giving a whole bunch of information just to give you some stuff. And, I'm a school teacher. I taught math, so I want to give you some stats. I don't give you some numbers, but I don't believe in giving you information that you cannot use. I hate useless information. It does nothing for me. It just takes up space in this little brain that I have, and I need all the space I can get. Okay. So I wanted to put up and show you our great state. Okay. Because I wanted to articulate and talk about where you live. Okay. So let me give you, like I said, let me give you some statistics. And this is coming straight from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Statista. Okay. So we all will readily admit that we are still in the midst of a pandemic, a global pandemic. And the last year to almost 2 years has been tough. Okay. So from an economic standpoint, from a job standpoint, that has been tough. Folks were losing jobs, folks were going on furlough, folks were not able to do some of the things that they wanted to do because of where we are from a job standpoint. However, in 2020, education and healthcare were still the largest employee sectors in the United States. You are always going to have a place and a space in the world of education and in healthcare, okay? To the tune of about 34.1 million people were employed in education and in healthcare. Prior to the pandemic, all right, it was estimated that healthcare was going to generate 2 million new jobs between 2014 and 2024. Well, as we know, we're in 2021 and 2022 is right around the corner. And this is still a very great possibility, okay? But a lot of this had to do with, again, prior to COVID, the rapid growth in our elderly population, okay? Folks are getting older, hence the gray beard. And I need some folks to take care of me. I had knee surgery a couple of years ago. At my age, I should not be breaking anything. Okay? I can't afford to break anything. It took forever. And I'd like to think I'm a young man. Now, I'm not as athletic as Dr. G. I would have loved to have been a football player like Dr. G. My parents wouldn't allow it, good people as they are. But I wish I was as athletic as Dr. G. Okay? The careers that I want to talk to you about today, most of these jobs, okay, many of these jobs don't require a 4-year college degree, and that's okay. Okay, many of these jobs require less than a 4-year college education, and they are attainable. Okay, aim high, ladies and gents. Aim absolutely high. Okay. Now, as I said to you, I want to talk to you about why I'm telling you these things. Why is this important to you? If you're sitting at your computer, you're looking at your phone or doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're wondering, okay, why is the bald-headed guy talking to me about this? This is important to you because the goal is to increase the number of underrepresented minorities and individuals in healthcare. We want to show representation. We want to make sure that you are able to go back to your home communities and you're able to serve, because those are the folks that need you. Folks need you to come back to Buncombe County. Folks need you to come back to Canada. Folks need you to come back and take care, okay? Want to create a culturally competent workforce, folks that understand, what your population needs. And ultimately, we want to eliminate health disparities. Now, if we need to, we can have a conversation about health disparities. But this is why this is important to you, especially as you all our seniors are getting ready to be launched out here into the world. Okay. Someone asked a very great question. What if I don't really understand or really know what is it that I want to do when I get to college or coming out of high school? You heard Dr. G talk about the fact that he had no idea, what he wanted to do, and he was in college into his sophomore year. I'm one of the lucky folks in that I knew that I wanted to be a school teacher in the 11th grade. And up until that point, it was always a toss up between, because as I said, my dad was an Army guy. So I was either going to go into the military, I was going to join the military, absolutely have love and affection and great appreciation for those that have served, or I was going to be a school teacher. And truthfully, the pull to be a school teacher, to be an educator, was just too great. Okay. But this is why this information is important to you. So now let me come and sit in your lap for a second. I want to talk to you about your house. Okay. So now I identified 4 counties, and I wish I had included Buncombe. I didn't realize that Buncombe was going to be represented as hard as it was, but I will do better next time if Ms. Hallam has me back. But I want to talk about Cherokee, Graham, Jackson, and Swain. Now, anybody in those counties, just give me a thumbs up. I hope I got 1 or 2. Okay. If not, what I want to be able to do is provide some perspective. Okay. Just think about it. Okay. In particular, looking at the populations. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thinking about population. So if I'm a person that lives in Cherokee, population of 27,000, almost 28,000 people. Okay. We're going to look at 4 specific health professions. Okay. Occupational therapy assistant, physical therapy assistant, nurse practitioner, and diagnostic medical sonographer. Okay. So I highlight those particular professions because they're some of the hottest jobs in North Carolina right now from a healthcare standpoint. Okay. You know, along with registered nurses, along with physician assistants, along with dentists, along with many other particular careers, but I wanted to highlight these 4. Okay. And in a minute, I'll talk about what an OT assistant does and what a PT assistant does, but I want to illustrate the need. Okay. 27,000 people, almost 28,000 people in Cherokee. Now, this information comes from the Shep Center that looks at their health professions workforce data. And so you have 1 particular health professional per 10,000 people. Okay. But I want to illustrate the need. You look at Cherokee and you compare the population to Cherokee to Jackson. Jackson's a bit bigger. Okay. But the number of occupational therapists is fairly close. Look at the number of occupational therapy assistants in Swain, which is a smaller county, not as small as Graham, but again, it illustrates the need. And if you think about, well, there's only 4 people in Graham and there's 8,000 folks. Again, the need that they have for you, highly trained and highly competent individuals. We need you. We're getting older, okay? And we need good folks like you, okay, from Owen High School to come and take care of us. Same for physical therapy assistants. Jackson has 23 individuals that declare themselves as physical therapy assistants for 43, almost 44,000 people. Okay. And we're not all top flight athletes. All right. We need some assistance. In Swain, you have 11 for 14,000 people. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if this is what I'm saying to you is making sense. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. For those individuals that are interested in nursing, you know, nurse practitioners, Jackson has a bit more, 42. Okay. If we look back at Cherokee with 23. And again, I just want to highlight some of these things. Now we're going to talk about some of these professions because I want to make sure that you understand that not all of these professions require you to go to 4 years of college plus X amount of years. Now, I spent a lot of time in school, 12 years of high school, 4 years of college, 2 years of my master's degree, 4.5 more years working on my PhD. And I really, really mean this when I say it flew by. It really, really flew by. Part of it is because I just enjoy school. Again, I'm a school teacher. I like to fashion myself a nerd. I enjoy school. School has always been my place. But for those folks that may not enjoy school as I, and recognize that going to school and getting your education is a tool, okay? You don't have to spend a lot of time in school to do the things that you need to do. Now, I encourage you to because school is a great place. But if not, there is a mechanism, there's a pathway for you, okay? So let's talk about some of these professions. So let's talk about an OT, okay? So I have a snapshot here of an OT, and you can see they're working the bands, okay? An occupational therapist is a person that helps patients develop, recover, improve, as well as maintain the skills they need, you know, for their daily living and working. For those folks that are getting older, for those folks that have been in accidents, you know, occupational therapist assistant or aide works primarily in the occupational therapy office, sometimes in hospitals, and oftentimes in nursing care facilities. They spend much of their time on their feet while setting up equipment. In the case of assistants, providing therapy to patients. Okay. Now, I give you something to just noodle on. Okay. As I said, this particular profession only requires an associate's degree. So of course you're gonna have to graduate from high school. But this position requires only an associate's degree, a 2-year degree from your local community college, a highly competitive, field. Okay. I give you the salary so that you have a thought process, or you have an understanding of what your livelihood may look like. Okay. Well, what about a physical therapy assistant? It sounds like these professions should be fairly similar. Let's see. Okay. A physical therapist assistant or aide are supervised by physical therapists, and they help patients regain movement and manage pain after injuries or illness. I spent time with the PTA after I had my knee surgery. Okay. Most physical therapy assistants may work in a physical therapy office or in a hospital. Of course, mine was here at Wake Forest, but they're always on their feet and they're working, helping you to get better. Once again, this requires an associate's degree. Does this mean that you can't further your education? Absolutely not. And go on to PT school or OT school. But these are options for folks that may not want to spend 4 to 6 years in school. Okay. And again, I give you the salary of $49,970 just for your thoughts. Okay. Now, I have always been interested in diagnostic medical sonography, partly because I was fascinated when my children were born. I just thought this was the coolest thing. Didn't understand what I was looking at all the time, but really enjoyed watching and listening to these individuals. Now, a diagnostic medical sonographer, and you can lump a number of different professions into this, like your cardiovascular techs and your technicians, especially if you've been to cath labs or those things. If you've ever visited Wake Forest, you visited some of the hospitals at home, and you've met some of these individuals. Okay, they operate specialized or special imaging equipment to create images or to conduct tests. Okay, diagnostic medical sonographers need formal education. Some programs you can achieve, you can get an associate's degree. Others you may have to go to a 4-year or a specific post-secondary certificate program. Okay, and again, I provide the salary range for you. Okay. Lastly, let's talk about your nurse practitioners. These are advanced practice registered nurses, or APRNs. These are individuals that coordinate patient care, direct contact with your patients. They may provide primary and specialty care. They work in a variety of different places like the hospital. We have a nurse practitioner program here, and actually we just started a nurse practitioner, a nurse anesthesia program here at Wake Forest. And again, I provide the salary range for you. Now, we've talked about a number of different health careers. We've talked about 4 in particular, okay? And I will be honest with you and tell you that a lot of the students that I work with here at Wake Forest, whether they're medical students, whether they're graduate students, or whether they're PA students, we all want this very linear kind of journey. We want to go from point A to point B, and it doesn't always happen. And that's okay, okay? The pathway to medicine is not always straight, okay? Unfortunately, sometimes the pathway looks just like this, okay? But for those of you that are high school students, as you're preparing to either go to college, as you're preparing to go to community college, or you're preparing to go to school of work, the world of work, there are a couple of things you need to be successful. A couple of things you need, and you heard some of these things from Dr. G. You hear some of these things from Ms. Hallam when you're in her programs. But it's important that you understand that you have to have your bags packed. Dr. G talked about not procrastinating, and I am so a part of the greatest nation on earth. I am a procrastinator. So I have to, I have to make sure and organize my time, because there are a lot of things coming at me, just like there are a lot of things coming at you. And if I just sort of take them as they are, I will just be swimming upstream. Okay. So please don't be a procrastinator. Make sure that you have your proverbial ducks in a row. You need a couple of things, to sort of prepare you if your plan is to launch yourself into a health career. Okay. Now, some of these things you understand. Okay. We often talk about the need for a high GPA. You need a competitive GPA. You need to understand what it is that you are seeking, and what are the benchmarks you need to meet to become a competitive applicant, whether that's a high GPA or competitive GPA. That should say a good MCAT or SAT score for students that were interested in medical school. You're going to absolutely need to have a good or competitive MCAT score. Whether you need research or volunteering, these are things that you will need to make sure that you stand out as an applicant. Letters of recommendation, it is why you need to have a network of good people surrounding you that can speak to who you are. Not someone that you may have been in their class for the first semester and you've never seen them again, but folks that can speak to your character, speak to your academic success, and how well you attack things and what kind of person you are. You want those individuals because they're willing to write letters of recommendation for you and speak to who you are. Okay. These are things that will help you to have and create a standout application if you're applying to college, if you're applying for jobs, all of these things. If you're applying to college or jobs, these things will help you. Okay. Now, as high school students, and there's nothing that I'm going to say to you today, that you've never heard before, okay, that you haven't thought about. But I just want to highlight a couple of things for you. Okay. You heard Dr. G talk about it. Okay. He talked about managing your time. He talked about creating a schedule. I just sort of talked about that, a schedule for work, a schedule for play, but being organized. Okay. If you do nothing else in your junior year, okay, at the beginning of your senior year, if you're planning to go to college, okay, do a couple of things for us. Make sure you begin to develop good study habits and test taking skills. Okay. If you become a health professional, it will not, when you graduate from college, that will not be the last time that you take a standardized test, that you're evaluated, that you're assessed. So make sure you develop good study habits. Okay. You heard Dr. G talk about how, preparing for this presentation was his homework. You got to do it. You have to prepare. Okay. If you don't prepare for success, you're preparing to fail. Okay. So you have to put yourself in the best position possible to be successful. Okay. Especially for those of you that are interested in the health profession, you have to establish a strong foundation in science and math. It's a requirement. You have to do it. So as Dr. G said, if you don't really like science is going to have to become your boo. You're going to have to spend some time. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask Miss Jones, the science teacher, or Mr. Johnson, the math teacher, can I spend some time with you? Can you talk to me? Can I explain myself to you and explain my thinking? Can you help me with this? Okay. Don't be afraid. You have to be fearless when you're thinking about becoming a health professional, okay? Because you're putting yourself out there to take care of people. Don't be afraid to take the hard courses. Don't duck and dodge the college credit and AP courses and your honors courses, especially if your school offers them. If your school offers those courses and you can handle them, take those courses, challenge yourself. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's some colleges and universities, that if you're going to take those courses, they want to see you do well. So if you're going to struggle, it doesn't help you to take those courses. But challenge yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please, please push yourself. Don't be afraid to stretch. Okay. Don't just take the SAT or the ACT. And as Dr. G said, the ACT is very, very popular right now. There are a number of schools that are waiving the SAT scores because of the pandemic. But make sure that if you're going to take it, if you're going to put that on paper, make sure that you prepare. These assessments have been around for a long, long time. Don't just take them on a whim. Okay. Don't study for a weekend and then plan on taking it. You have to prepare for this. Okay. Don't just be a one-trick pony. Okay. If you're an athlete, make sure that you're the best athlete that you can. Make sure that you hone in on your craft, but that you also involve yourselves in a couple other things like your volunteering, looking at extracurricular activities. Continue to do things like this. If you're active with your AHEC and MAHEC, please continue. Incredible interventions. I love my time at AHEC. There are times when I think I want to go back because I miss engaging with students like that. MSCN programs or HOSA. Guys, you can participate in HOSA too. I encourage you to participate in HOSA. Okay. HPrep programs, all of these types of interventions that allow you and expose you to the many different health careers across our great land. Make sure you involve yourself in these things. Make sure that you're aware of the many different opportunities. I will say it and I will say it. My students here at Wake Forest hate to hear me say it, but don't get behind and don't forget to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It is not a sign of weakness when you have to raise a hand. Hell, raise two hands and say, I need help. Okay, that's the sign of a strong person that can admit that I need some assistance. Your guidance counselors are your friends. Okay, make sure that you're seeking out your counselors. Make sure you're seeking out your instructors. Make sure you're bugging Ms. Hallam. Okay, because these folks are invested in your success. Okay, I'm telling you all of this because many people will say, you know, when you head off to college, you know, when you head off to a health profession school, you know, this is going to be you. Okay, you're going to be drinking from that proverbial fire hydrant, and it's all coming hot and heavy and fast. And for many of you, that is true. But there's some ways to sort of bring that fire hydrant down into a funnel, into a nice stream. Okay, you know, again, it's going to feel like that. Okay, but you have resources. You have folks that you've made a part of your network that are going to help you, that are going to work for you. And remember, we've talked about not being afraid to ask for help. We've talked about being prepared, okay? Because we know what we know for certain is that if you don't prepare, okay, if you don't ask for help, if you allow yourself to get behind, if you procrastinate like I do sometimes, if you know, are interested in everything else but what you should be interested in, we're going to see some of us being like this, okay? Will you fall short of your goal? Okay. No man nor woman is an island. Please don't try to approach these things, whether it's college, whether it's, you know, becoming a nurse practitioner, whatever the course may be. Please don't go at it alone. Utilize your network. If you all are in high school now, I hope that you have good study groups and folks that you work with that are pointed in the same direction. Okay. Please don't be the person like the guy at the bottom that's biting off way more than he can chew. Okay. Don't be the person, as I had a student in my office yesterday, that wants to be a part of every club, that wants to be a part of every committee, that is trying to do everything, and she can't get her academic commitments done because she's so stretched thin. She's overcommitted, you know, and she's bitten off more than she can chew. Don't do that. Invest in the things that you truly want to do. Recognize that you're one person and you have a finite amount of time. Okay. Ask for help. Make sure that you understand what your goals are so that you don't fall short of them. Okay. Ultimately, work together as a team. And when I say as a team, I'm talking you and your parents and your family, your counselors, your teachers, okay, your mentors. Dr. G talked about having mentors. It is important that you have mentors. And all of your mentors don't have to be the same person. Okay. Work together, work with those folks so that you can get to here, you know, to graduation, to that particular health profession, to your goals. Okay. Now, I said to you when I first started that I'm a school teacher. You know, school teachers enjoy assessments and pop quizzes. I want to have a quick pop quiz. Okay. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Okay. And just throw them in the chat. Respond to it. Let's see how many A's I'm going to pass out today. Okay. So true or false? Sports and entertainment make up the largest industry in the United States. Extra credit if you can tell me, one, if that's true, and if it's not true, you know, what are those healthcare sectors? Throw that in the chat for me right quick. Oh, now nobody want to talk to me. False. Okay. All right. I said false. Got another false. False. Healthcare. Okay. Healthcare is the largest. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pass out a couple of A's. Healthcare makes up the biggest industry. Absolutely. Healthcare and education. Absolutely. It is false. All right. Second question. All health careers require 12 years of post-high school education. True or false? True or false? False. Okay. Somebody's been paying attention to me. Look at this. Okay. I haven't put anybody to sleep. Look, I'm winning right now. I'm winning. Nobody's asleep. Everybody's got their camera on. All right. Last question. Many of the allied health careers available are being filled by elderly folks, people that look like Dr. Roper with the gray beard going on. Is that true? Are we filling these positions? Young folk. There you go. False. Young folks. I want young folks to help. I need somebody to help me when this knee decides to do something else that it doesn't want to do. And when I fall down the steps again and have to have surgery, I need young people. I can't help me get up. Okay. All right. So everybody passed. I'm giving all A's. I'm giving out A's today. All right. So a couple of questions I want you to think about as we've been talking. Okay. Why are you here? Okay. I told you what I was thinking. All right. I told you what my assumptions were about why you were here. But I want you to think about why you're here, whether that's at this conference, whether that's at a MAHEC event, whether that's at school. Why are you here? Okay. If you're just here on earth, I need you to rethink that. Okay. What do you want to accomplish? If you're going to be here, be productive. What are you hoping to accomplish? What do you hope to get out of this conference? Okay. What do you hope to get out of this class? Okay. What do you hope to get out of this event? Okay. These are things that I think you should be thinking about always. Anytime you enter into something, make it intentional. Be intentional about why you do what it is that you do. Okay. How will I use what I learned this week, this day, to achieve your goals? Okay. Don't just absorb what we're saying to you. Don't just take it at face value. How will you apply this? Again, remember, I don't like giving you anything, that you can't use. If you can't use it, chuck it. But if you can, apply it to your life. Okay. Don't forget your network. Who's going to help you to reach your goals? Don't forget your network. Build a solid network. Okay. Remember who the folks are that are going to help you. Okay. If you have ideas, if you have things that you want to accomplish, you don't put a date behind it. Time when it's going to be accomplished. It's just a great idea. When will you set benchmarks for yourself, for your future? Okay. I want to do this by. Okay. This has to be done. I'm planning to take the SAT in January. I need to have practice tests scheduled for November and December. Make sure you attach dates to this. Okay. If there's been anything that I've said that has piqued your interest, if I provided you with a statistic you want to learn a little bit more about, or I talked to you about a particular profession, you can get more information from these particular places. Spent a lot of time on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. Absolutely love the Chef Center. They provide a wealth of health professions workforce information. Don't be afraid of research, ladies and gentlemen. Information is out there for the taking. You just got to go get it. Okay. So how can you continue to get involved? Okay. If you've heard anything that I've said, that we've said, how can you get involved? You want more? Make sure you spend time with this woman, this incredible woman. Make sure that you spend time. Ask her, allow her to guide you, allow her to share and pour into you. Make sure that you figure out what it is you need, because she can tell you. She's been there. She's done that. She's done this work for a long time. Make sure you spend time with Ms. Howell. Okay. This is my time, ladies and gentlemen. I've so enjoyed you. I wish we could have been in the same space. I wish we could have talked. And so I want to open up some time, for some questions. But if you have any questions for me, if it's about Wake Forest, if it's about our graduate programs, if it's about anything, please don't hesitate to give me a buzz on the phone, drop me an email. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I welcome your questions.
Thank you, Professor. We so appreciate you. Every year you provide some wonderful information about careers in healthcare.
Thank you, ma'am.
And Tracy's saying next year, we do hope we can be together.
You tell me when. I am there. I will be there. Always.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Roper?
My pleasure, Sadie. Thank you.
One of the things that I'm always amazed with the information is that there are so many different programs in Western North Carolina that we can't keep up with.
Right.
One of those is Medcat. Professor, could you speak to Medcat? And I noticed the counties that you were speaking to. If you could talk a bit about Medcat in case we have some students that are from those areas.
Sure. Medcat is an incredible program that is offered in partnership with the Maya Angelou Center for Health Equity here on the Wake Forest School of Medicine campus, or the Wake Forest campus, along in partnership with MAHEC, with the Center for Native American Health, and I'm missing one of our partners. But this is a summer intervention for students in Western North Carolina, in particular students Native American descent and rural individuals. It is a week-long summer camp that is provided. We also provide quarterly or monthly learning labs at your county. Medcat is an incredible program that is offered for students in western part of North Carolina. Oh, Tracy has. There's a question from Christine. Christine, are you asking questions about internships at MAHEC or at Wake Forest? Okay.
Yeah.
So I am the director for experiential learning and internships here at the Wake Forest School of Medicine, or at the Wake Forest Graduate School. And those internships are primarily for graduate students. However, Wake Forest does provide internship opportunities for high school students. We have had students from outside of Winston-Salem that have, participated in those internships. Unfortunately, because we're still in the pandemic, a lot of those in-person internships are not being offered for high school students and external students. And when I say external students, I'm talking about students that are not graduate students or medical students or PA or CRNA students, just because we're entering into flu season, and so they're limiting the number of folks that are coming into the hospitals. But we do offer opportunities for that. So please keep in touch. Always looking at the website, because oftentimes there are a lot of departments that are looking for high school interns. Great question.
Thank you. Tracy, would you share the screen of the activities that are here at MAHEC? And I can talk about that here at the end. And Professor, thank you so much for everything. It's always a pleasure to work with you and the wealth of knowledge that you bring to our students. Because making choices is not the easiest thing for us to do right now, and we need all the help that we can get. It is so many things out here. One of the things is that I want to tell most of you, when you're doing your searches for scholarships, when you're doing your searches for information, do not take the information necessarily from the websites that have .com. Because those may be sites that are not nonprofit. They may be asking you for money, and most of the things that you can get right now are free. So when you do your assessments, self-evaluations, and you do a search on Google and you get a .com, keep going until you get a .net or something that's not asking you for money. Scholarships are free. You do not need to pay for information about scholarships. You do not need to pay for information about assessments. And whatever you click on, make sure you ask your teacher first or some other adult, or do your research on that. That is so important. You will get information in the mail saying that you need a couple $1,000s to come to this fantastic opportunity at some college or university somewhere. Do your research first before you start collecting money or sending them money. Those are things that during this pandemic and virtual world that you're finding people out there who may be a bit unscrupulous. And so beware and be careful on the internet and the .com websites. I wanted to share information with you about some of the questions you had about what we're doing in Western North Carolina. And because much of this work is virtual right now, you're able to participate even if you're not in Western North Carolina. And so we have information about our team Health Careers Club, SAT, ACT preparations we're offering, school sanctioned internships, which is our minority medical mentoring program. And there are so many opportunities on the MAHEC website, mahec.net. And I will put that in the chat, or Tracy will put that in the chat. Ask us about anything. All of our resources are available to you. both physically and virtually in some cases. We have an AHEC Scholars Program for students that are out of high school who are working towards a career in healthcare. We also want to say, send your siblings our way. There are many opportunities for students that are coming of age and coming into high school. And we'll also be doing some middle school opportunities, like pig dissection and some other ones that I can't think of right now, but we want to make sure we are offering site visits on the MAHEC campus as soon as the pandemic leaves us. And so those are important areas that you may want to check into. I will leave you my favorite things are quotes, and I will leave you with a quote. And one of them is the 5 Ps. And I think I got this from Wake Forest when I was there. I saw it in an office. You know the 5 Ps, right, Professor? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. I'll repeat that. Tell them, Professor.
Proper performance prevents poor proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Absolutely. It's a tongue twister.
That it is.
I'm going to put that in the chat. Proper preparation. I think I can spell that.
You're absolutely
Prevents
right.
poor performance.
There you go.
And I tell you, thank you, Professor. Thank you all
ma'am.
for
Thank
taking
you.
your time. Thank your teachers for allowing this to happen. Tell your friends if they missed it, we will have it recorded and we will be able to provide that link, and that will come out when it's already reviewed. Oh, it's already out there? Oh, that's our link. Okay. So thank you for coming. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm putting my quote in the chat. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Those are the 5 Ps. Keep those. They will do you well.
Absolutely.
We thank you. Have a good day. I hope you are able to utilize this information. And even if you attended, if you want to listen to the conference again using the link, you're welcome to do that. Have a great day and be safe.
Thanks, madam. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Professor. Thank you. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much, Tracy. Well done. Bye, all.